Welcome back to The Other Mother, a 5-episode cinematic audio thriller, narrated entirely by Lauren Bishop. This is episode 2, The Exchange. The phone has rung. Hendricks has made his demand, and Lauren must now decide how far she will go to protect her son.
I drove back to the cabin with Rebecca in the passenger seat, silent and shaking. My mind raced with questions. What had Oliver remembered? What could a 7-year-old possibly know that would change everything? The cabin appeared through the trees just as the sun was setting. I pulled up fast, gravel crunching under the tires. Natalie was on the porch waiting, arms crossed. The look on her face made my stomach drop. "Where's Oliver?" I asked, jumping out of the car. "Inside. Playing with trains," Natalie said. "He's fine. But Lauren, we need to talk." Rebecca climbed out slowly, looking at Natalie with recognition. "You're the woman who came to see me 6 months ago." "Rebecca Sloan," Natalie said, nodding. "Glad you made it out alive. Marcus Cole doesn't usually miss." "He set the whole building on fire," Rebecca said, her voice shaking. 12 families. Just to get to us. "That's Hendricks's style," Natalie said grimly. "Efficient and ruthless." I interrupted. "You said Oliver remembered something." Natalie's expression softened. "Come inside. You need to hear this from him." Oliver was in the small living room, building an elaborate train track across the floor. He looked up when we entered, his face brightening. "Mama, look. Nat helped me build a mountain." The cardboard mountain did look impressive. For a moment, I let myself pretend we were just on vacation. Just a normal camping trip. "It's beautiful, baby," I said, kneeling beside him. "Nat said you remembered something important." Oliver's face grew serious. He looked at Natalie, then back at me. "I remembered the gray man," he said quietly. I kept my voice gentle. "Tell me about the gray man, sweetheart." "I was little," Oliver said. "Maybe 3 or 4. There was a lady who came to visit sometimes. She had really fancy clothes and she smelled like flowers. She used to bring me presents, toys and stuff. Do you remember her name?" I asked. Oliver shook his head. "You always called her Mrs. Morrison. She was nice at first. But then one time, she brought the gray man with her." "What did the gray man look like?" "Old," Oliver said. "Gray hair. He wore a suit like the kind Grandpa wears to church. He just stood there and stared at me. Didn't say anything. Just stared. It was creepy. My blood ran cold." "Mrs. Morrison? Are you sure?" "Yeah," Oliver said. "You guys talked in the kitchen. I couldn't hear everything, but she said something about my birthday coming up. About how I was getting so big and healthy." The gray man kept looking at me like he was deciding something. Natalie pulled out her laptop, typed quickly, turned the screen toward Oliver. "Is this the woman?" Oliver's eyes went wide. "Yeah, that's her." I looked at the screen. A woman in her 60s, elegant, silver hair perfectly styled. The caption read, "Helena Morrison, philanthropist and CEO of Morrison Medical Technologies, dies at 68. She's dead." I asked. "Died 3 weeks ago," Natalie said. "Leukemia. But that's not the important part. Look at this." She pulled up another document. Financial records. Wire transfers. Helena Morrison paid Cascade Adoption Services $400,000 in 2019, Natalie said. "The same year you adopted Oliver." And according to these records, she was supposed to pay another $600,000 on his 8th birthday. His 8th birthday is next month, I whispered. Exactly, Natalie said. But Helena died before she could complete the transaction, which means someone else inherited her contract. Rebecca, who'd been standing in the doorway, spoke up. Helena Morrison had 2 daughters, Catherine and Elizabeth. Catherine's married, lives in Seattle. Elizabeth died 5 years ago in a car accident. So Catherine inherited everything, I said, including the contract for Oliver. Catherine Morrison Walsh, Natalie corrected, typing again. Married to Senator Richard Walsh. Very wealthy. Very connected. Very desperate. She turned the laptop again. This time, a news article. Senator's wife battles rare blood disorder. Family seeks donors. Catherine has the same disease her mother died from, Natalie explained. Genetic leukemia. She needs a bone marrow transplant. And guess whose bone marrow is a perfect match? I pulled Oliver close. No. Absolutely not. Mama, what's bone marrow? Oliver asked, confused. Nothing, baby, I said, my voice tight. Nothing for you to worry about. Catherine doesn't just want Oliver's bone marrow, Rebecca said quietly. If she's anything like her mother, she's had this planned for years. Helena was obsessed with longevity. She funded experimental medical research. Illegal research. Oliver wasn't just chosen for his blood type. He was chosen because he's genetically compatible with the entire Morrison family line. What does that mean? I asked, though I was afraid I already knew. It means Oliver's organs, tissue, blood, everything, could potentially save multiple members of the Morrison family, Rebecca said. He's not just a donor. He's a genetic match engineered to be harvested piece by piece as they need him. I thought I might be sick. But Helena's dead, I said. The contract is void, right? Natalie shook her head. Catherine inherited her mother's estate, including all business agreements. Legally, she owns the contract. And with her disease progressing, she's running out of time. Let me guess, I said bitterly. Thomas Hendricks is her retrieval specialist. Was her mother's, Natalie corrected. Now he works for Catherine. And he's been cleaning up loose ends. 3 families who adopted through Cascade have had their children taken in the last month. All of them were genetic matches for Morrison family members. All of them are now missing. What happened to them? I asked, though I didn't want to know. Harvested, Rebecca said bluntly. And then disposed of. Oliver was still playing with his trains, oblivious. I watched him push the red engine around the track, making quiet choo-choo sounds. He had no idea he was being hunted like an animal. So what do we do? I asked. We can't run forever. Catherine has resources, connections. She'll find us eventually. We don't run, Natalie said. We fight. We expose her. Publicly. How? I demanded. She's a senator's wife. We're nobody. Who's going to believe us? I have evidence, Natalie said. Financial records, adoption files, communications between Helena and Hendricks. I've been building a case for 2 years. But I needed the missing piece, the identity of the buyer. Now we have it. Catherine Morrison Walsh. Evidence isn't enough, Rebecca interjected. Catherine will have lawyers. She'll claim the documents are forged. She'll say we're extorting her. We need something irrefutable. Like what? I asked. Like a witness, Rebecca said. Someone from inside the operation. Someone who can testify to everything. You, I said, looking at her. Rebecca shook her head violently. I'm a bankrupt ex-caseworker with a substance abuse history. Catherine's lawyers will destroy my credibility in 5 minutes. We need someone better. Who? Natalie asked. Marcus Cole, Rebecca said. Hendricks's enforcer. He's been with the operation since the beginning. He knows where the bodies are buried. Literally. If we can get him to flip, we have a case. Why would he flip? I asked. Because he's dying, Rebecca said. Lung cancer. Stage 4. 6 months to live, maybe less. Men facing death sometimes want to clear their conscience. Or they have nothing to lose and become more dangerous, Natalie countered. It's worth a try, Rebecca insisted. Marcus Cole is the key. I looked at Oliver, still playing peacefully. Then at the 3 women in this cabin, a data analyst who'd spent 2 years hunting the people who stole her son, a traumatized caseworker who'd unknowingly facilitated child trafficking, and me, a graphic designer who just wanted her son to be safe. We were outmatched, outgunned, and out of options. How do we find Marcus Cole? I asked. Natalie smiled grimly. I've been tracking him for 6 months. I know exactly where he is. 2 hours later, Natalie and I were parked outside a bar in southeast Portland. Rebecca stayed at the cabin with Oliver, despite my protests. Natalie had insisted we needed someone to watch him, and Rebecca was the only option. I'd left strict instructions. Doors locked, gun loaded, don't open for anyone. The bar was called the Rusty Nail, and it looked exactly like the kind of place where retired dirty cops drank themselves to death. Neon signs flickered in the window. Country music drifted into the street. Marcus comes here every Tuesday night, Natalie said. Drinks alone. Usually for 3-4 hours. How do you know that? I asked. I told you. I've been preparing for this for 2 years. We watched the door. At 9:47, a man emerged. Late 50s, grey hair, moving slowly. Even from a distance, I could see the yellow tinge of his skin. Jaundice. The cancer was eating him alive. That's him, Natalie said. We followed as he walked to a beat-up Chevy truck. He climbed in slowly, like every movement hurt. Natalie pulled out behind him, keeping distance. We followed him through residential streets, getting farther from downtown. Where's he going? I asked. Home, probably. He lives alone. Divorced. No kids. Just him and his cancer. Marcus pulled into the driveway of a small house in Milwaukee. Lights off, lawn overgrown. The house of someone who'd stopped caring. We waited until he was inside. Then Natalie nodded. Now, she said. We approached the front door. I had the gun in my jacket pocket, though my hand was shaking too much to be useful. Natalie knocked. Firm. Authoritative. The door opened. Marcus stood there, backlit by a dim hallway light. Up close, he looked worse. Gaunt. Hollow-eyed. Death warmed over. I know who you are, he said to Natalie. His voice was rough, like gravel. Natalie Graves. You've been following me. We need to talk, Natalie said. About what? About Cascade. About Helena Morrison. About the children you helped traffic. Marcus smiled, showing yellowed teeth. You wearing a wire? No. Then come in. Might as well. I'm dying anyway. What's one more sin? Inside, the house smelled like cigarettes and decay. Marcus gestured to a worn couch. We sat. He lowered himself into a recliner with a grimace. "You want a drink?" he asked. "No," I said. "Suit yourself." He poured whiskey into a dirty glass, took a long swallow. "So, Natalie Graves and Lauren Bishop. The birth mother and the adoptive mother. That's poetic. How do you know who I am?" I asked. "I know everything about you," Marcus said. "Your address, your sister's name, where you buy groceries. I've been watching you for 3 weeks, waiting for the order to take Oliver. But then you disappeared. Made my job harder." "We're not here to make your job easier," Natalie said. "We're here to offer you a deal." Marcus laughed, then coughed, a wet, terrible sound. When he pulled his hand away from his mouth, there was blood on his palm. "A deal," he repeated. "What could you possibly offer me? I'm dead in 6 months. Nothing you have matters." "Redemption," Natalie said simply. Marcus stared at her, then laughed again, softer this time. "Redemption. You think I want that?" "I think you're tired," Natalie said. "I think you've done terrible things for 20 years and you're afraid of what comes after. I think you lie awake at night wondering if there's a hell, and knowing you've earned your place there." Marcus's smile faded. "Here's the deal," Natalie continued. "You testify against Catherine Morrison Walsh. You tell prosecutors everything, the trafficking operation, the harvesting, the murders. You give them names, dates, evidence. And in exchange, we make sure your name goes down in history as the man who brought down the Morrison Empire. The man who saved dozens of children. A hero, not a villain." "I'm no hero," Marcus said quietly. "No," Natalie agreed. "But you could be remembered as one. 6 months from now, you're dead either way. Question is, what story do you want told about you after you're gone?" Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood, walked to a closet, pulled out a box. Inside were files. Dozens of them. "I've been keeping insurance," he said. "Everything Hendricks and the Morrisons did, I documented. Figured if they ever tried to tie up loose ends, I'd have leverage." He dropped the box on the coffee table. Birth certificates, death certificates, financial records, photographs. Names of every child taken, every family destroyed. 20 years of evidence. I stared at the box. "Why are you giving this to us?" Marcus sat back down heavily. "Because you're right. I am tired. And I am afraid. I spent 20 years telling myself I was just doing a job. That the kids were going to good homes, that I was helping people. But I knew. Deep down, I always knew." He looked at me directly. "I was there the day they took Oliver from Natalie. I was the one who injected her with the sedative while she was in labor. I was the one who carried the baby out of the delivery room while she was unconscious. I heard her screaming when she woke up. Heard her screaming for her son." Natalie's hands clenched into fists. "I did that," Marcus continued. "And I did it to 23 other women. 23 mothers who thought their babies died. 23 children who grew up with families who loved them, not knowing they were stolen. And I did it for money. For Helena Morrison's money." "Why?" I asked. "Why did Helena want these children?" "Control," Marcus said. "Power. She had a genetic disorder that shortened her life. She was obsessed with longevity, with finding ways to extend her time. She funded illegal medical research, cloning experiments, gene therapy, organ harvesting. And when she found out she could identify genetic matches before birth, compatible donors, she had Hendricks start collecting them. Oliver was supposed to be harvested on his 8th birthday, Natalie said. That was the original agreement, Marcus confirmed. But Helena died first. Now Catherine's running the show. And she's more desperate than her mother ever was. She needs Oliver's bone marrow now, not later. Which is why Hendricks is pushing so hard to find you. There are other children, I said. You said 23 families. Marcus nodded. 12 are still alive. The others have already been harvested. Jesus, I whispered. We can save the 12, Natalie said firmly. With this evidence, we can find them, warn the families, stop Hendricks. You'll need FBI involvement, Marcus said. And you'll need to move fast. Once Catherine realizes I've flipped, she'll destroy everything. Burn the facilities, eliminate witnesses, disappear. Then we go to the FBI tonight, I said. There's one problem, Marcus said. Catherine has a contact inside the FBI. I don't know who. But someone's been feeding her information. If you walk into the wrong office, you're dead before morning. Then who do we trust? I asked. Marcus pulled out a card. Special Agent Diane Chen. Portland Field Office. She's clean. I know because Catherine tried to bribe her 2 years ago and Chen reported it. She's been investigating the Morrison family ever since. But she doesn't have enough evidence to move. This, he gestured to the box. This is what she needs. Natalie took the card. Why are you helping us? Really? Marcus looked at her for a long moment. Because I remember you screaming for your baby. And I want to hear something different before I die. I want to hear that at least one mother got her son back. Even if she can't keep him. Even if he calls someone else Mama. At least she'll know he's alive. That he's safe. That someone fought for him. His voice broke. I took that from you. From 23 women. I can't give it back. But maybe I can make sure no one else loses what you lost. We left Marcus's house with the box of evidence. Natalie drove while I called Agent Chen's number. It went to voicemail. I left a message. Urgent, life-threatening situation. Needed to meet tonight. My phone rang 10 minutes later. This is Special Agent Diane Chen, a woman's voice said. Who am I speaking with? Lauren Bishop. I have evidence about the Morrison family. Child trafficking. Organ harvesting. Everything. We need protection. There was a pause. Where are you? I hesitated. I'll tell you in person. But not at your office. Somewhere public. With witnesses. Smart, Chen said. There's a 24-hour diner on Burnside. Bijou Cafe. Be there in an hour. Come alone. I'm bringing someone. Natalie Graves. She's the biological mother of my son. Another pause. Fine. 1 hour. And Ms. Bishop? If this is a hoax, I'll arrest you both. It's not a hoax, I said. It's worse than you can imagine. I hung up. Natalie was already turning the car around, heading back toward the cabin. We need to get Oliver, I said. And Rebecca. We all go together. Natalie nodded. Once we hand over the evidence, there's no going back. Catherine will know. Hendricks will know. They'll come for us with everything they have. Let them come, I said. I'm done running. We drove in silence for a moment. Then Natalie spoke quietly. After this is over. After Oliver's safe. I meant what I said. I'll disappear. I won't interfere in his life. You're his mother. You raised him. I'm just the woman who gave birth to him. Nat, I said, using the nickname for the first time. You're more than that. You saved him. Twice. Once when you were pregnant, and once when you warned me. You're part of his story. You're part of our story. She glanced at me, eyes shining. What are you saying? I'm saying I don't know what happens next, I admitted. I don't know how this works. But Oliver deserves to know where he came from. He deserves to know you. And maybe there's room in his life for both of us. Natalie wiped her eyes quickly. I'd like that. We pulled up to the cabin. The lights were on. Everything looked normal. We got out of the car. I had the gun in my hand, just in case. The front door was unlocked. Inside, Rebecca sat on the couch, hands folded in her lap. Beside her, holding a gun to her head, was Thomas Hendricks. And standing near the hallway, holding Oliver by the shoulder, was a woman I recognized from Natalie's laptop. Catherine Morrison Walsh. Hello, Lauren, Catherine said pleasantly. Thank you for coming home. We've been waiting. There's a moment in every nightmare where you realize you're not going to wake up. That the terror is real. That the monster isn't under the bed, it's standing in front of you, holding a gun, about to take everything you love. This was that moment. And I had one choice left. Fight or watch my son disappear forever. I chose to fight.
Next time on The Other Mother, the rest stop confrontation explodes into violence. Helena Morrison's secret is exposed, and Natalie makes a sacrifice that will change everything. Next time on The Other Mother, the rest stop confrontation explodes into violence. Helena Morrison's secret is exposed, and Natalie makes a sacrifice that will change everything. Subscribe to Life Stories Untold for more gripping cinematic audio thrillers and unforgettable human stories. If you're enjoying The Other Mother, please leave a review and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Thank you for listening. End of Episode 2.